Hi everyone. Today I'm going to speak about persuasion skills. Persuasion skills are an investment. These are the skills that you employ in order to convince somebody to believe or to trust you. In this way, you can win an ally for your cause. You can get support for this business idea that you have. You can get trusted as a new member of the team, or you can get that promotion. Persuasion skills are important for our everyday life, for our social interaction, for our professional development, and a lot more. This is what actually makes some people successful while others are not so successful, even though they may have the same skill set. This is why I would like to urge you to improve your persuasion skills. And the best way to improve your persuasion skills is to meet new people and come out as a likable person. Of course, being respectful and sincere, it goes a long way. However, typically when we meet a new person, they immediately put us in sort of a bucket of us or them. So if we are in the us bucket, it means they perceive us as individuals who are similar to them in terms of our energy, in terms of our passion, our knowledge, our drive and motivation. And if it's the bucket them, it means, well, maybe it's a nice person, maybe he or she is a nice person, maybe they're a likable person, but they're different from us. And if somebody perceives us as different, then they'll be more cautious when they speak to us, they'll be more cautious when it comes to sharing ideas, or maybe they wouldn't share that sort of profound ideas, or their goals and aims for the near future. So definitely you want to make sure that you're placed in the us bucket, because this is going to make you much closer, or at least being perceived as a much closer individual to this person. And if you're in the us bucket, then immediately you can activate some knowledge sharing between both parties, which you can be better off with. Not to mention, the trust levels would be much higher. So how do we get to be in this us bucket? How do we be perceived as a person who is similar in terms of energy, drive, etc. to the person that we approach? It's very important that we try to establish some sort of commonality between us and the other person. No matter whether you know this person for a second or two or for a week or more, commonalities are very important in order to activate the flow of information from one party to another. So what do I actually mean by commonality? Well, it is simple. You have to find a topic that you both share some interest. The more topics you find, the better it is. It makes the conversation much more organic, but also makes people more likely to trust you and to support you in the long term. And if you gain their trust and support, you can persuade them to believe in your cause, in your business venture, in whatever you want them to believe. It's going to make the chances of establishing a trusting relationship much higher. So the first thing you need to be looking for is any sort of commonality in regards to professional spheres, professional fields of operation. Is your job somehow related to the job of this other person? How about industries? Are these industries even completely different, maybe interrelated? And you can go beyond the professional realm and consider any sort of personal similarities, such as did you both go to the same school? Do you live in the same neighborhood? Do you originate from the same city, country of origin, etc.? All these help you to bring this sort of relationship on a more personal and trustable level. Even you can go further by exploring what kind of sports and interest these people have. It could be a common topic in terms of you favor the same team, football team, you both play squash or tennis, or it could be that both of you have a particular lifestyle that you feel very energizing. Maybe you like to travel, maybe you've been to similar countries, maybe you share passion for a specific culture, etc. So really there is no specific prescribed commonality that you can identify, but the more commonalities you identify, the better it is, because it will make the other person perceive you as a closer individual. So if you go to a mixer event to network with people, you can assume that everybody there would be willing to connect with people for strategic purposes. Therefore, you may perceive that the aspect of finding commonality much more challenging. Or maybe the time frame of establishing this commonality is much shorter because there are many people And these key individuals, especially within that event, may try to talk to as many important other individuals. Therefore, your chance to make an impression is much shorter. You have to act quickly. This requires a certain element of preparation before the actual event. So before you go to this conference or this networking event, it makes sense to research people and find commonalities ahead of this meeting or key event. So how do you research people? You can log in to LinkedIn and check their profiles. You can look at their background in terms of educational and professional background. You can look at their areas of interest. You can even look at what kind of certifications they have acquired. It's all available on LinkedIn. We can also search them on Google, and we often can find their company profile where they list not only their professional achievements and background, but also their responsibilities within their specific companies they operate in, as well as sometimes some sort of interest such as hobbies and sports, etc. It's very common that people have that sort of information within their professional profiles, so others can relate to them on a more interpersonal basis. So these are some of the preparations you need to achieve ahead of time so that you can have some ready to go, ready to shoot facts or establish some sort of rapport when it comes to commonalities. And of course, you don't need to search every single one of those individuals who are going to attend this event. It's going to be too much work and probably too difficult to achieve anyway, but it makes sense to identify some key strategic individuals, such as, let's say, some key speakers, the people presenting the whole or organizing the whole event. And these are typically people who are well connected. If you establish rapport with them, if you manage to build trusting relationships with them, they can easily introduce you to other parties, and then they can act in your favor. They can be the one actually sharing, look, this person here is quite similar to you because they have interest in the same topic. Or maybe this person too plays tennis, or this person too likes cycling as well. So we can all meet up in the weekend to practice sport. It can go in any different ways. Of course, it's always useful to build up such knowledge about such information early on, but sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes you just come across an individual and you didn't anticipate to meet this individual at this event or this conference. Even then, you can still have a good chance to establish rapport, to establish commonalities between these individuals. The easy way to do so, even without initial preparation, is to ask open-ended questions. By asking open-ended questions, you give the chance to the other party, to the other person, to speak about themselves, their interests, etc. And then we need to employ active listening skills. Making an impression, convincing people, making them believe that your goal is a valid one and realistic one does not only require speaking. You should not bombard them with information. As a matter of fact, you should listen more than speaking. And by active listening, by employing this skill of active listening, you can spot some key elements which will allow you to hook on this specific commonality and establish trust in a broader sense that can transcend, let's say, your mutual interests in sport and go into business or building relationships, business relationships, collaborating over a new venture, etc. So these are some of the tools and ideas that I deeply believe in because I've been utilizing these sort of hints throughout my career, connecting with people, and they always work. Very important to note here is that quality is better than quantity. So instead of going to an event and trying to speak to every single person in the room, then try to establish closer connection with some specific key individuals. Then they can later introduce you to others. So I leave you with this message and I hope you find this useful. This is everything from me for now. Catch up with you in the next video. Peace out.